Hey, it's Ashley Bratton from Redemption Fellowship, and I'm here with the one and only Raven Magwood. Thank you so much
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're so glad to talk to you today. Listen, if you are feeling down today, you are going to be so inspired and so just over the roof by the end of this conversation. I'm so excited that she agreed to meet with me. Gosh, it's hard to even know where to start. You've accomplished so much. Tell us how old you are, if
I'm
you don't mind.
25.
25, and when you hear all of her accomplishments, listen, when I read her book and saw all she did, I was like, I'm so behind right now. But God has used her as a vessel to reach so many. Wrote your first book at 12 years old.
12, yes.
She's now written 4 books, I may add, and the last one's coming out soon,
Yes,
right?
in a few months. Yeah.
Yes, and you went to college at
16.
16
Yes.
years old. Graduated at 19?
19.
And tell them a little bit about the honor you got, the Clemson honor.
Yes, I became one of Clemson's Roaring 10, which is the top 10 graduates of the past 10 years. So, yeah.
Top 10 graduates of 10 years, guys. I mean, that is super impressive. But my favorite thing about Raven is her love for the Lord, her love for youth. She's spent her life traveling and speaking and doing everything that she can to empower others and to point people to Jesus along the way. I mean, you tell them a little bit about your past with gymnastics.
Yes, I was a former national gymnastics champion. I started that at 6 years old, and by 12 I had become a national gymnastics champion. By 10 I was a level 10 gymnast, which is the highest you can go in the USAG Junior Olympic program. And I've really used that in so many other areas of my life, and it's been awesome. Yeah.
Yes, and so I thought today, 2019 is almost here, and, I just read one of her book that's about to come out recently, and it just so stirred me and inspired me, and I really wanted to get her in front of all of you guys as we're going into 2019, because I know that God has put so much in your hearts for your cities, for your youth, for your everybody that goes to your church, for your leaders, for your staff. And I believe that this talk today is going to really help as we jump into that next season. So I know goals, obviously
Yes.
you would have never been where you are today without goals.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about goal setting and some of your go-to things that you do every year.
Yeah, goal setting is obviously extremely important.
Yes.
Because if you don't set goals, you don't know where you're going, you don't know how you're going to get there, you're just kind of roaming through life, or roaming through your career, or roaming through whatever area of life you speak of. So for me, I'm very big about, we have to write the vision and make it plain.
Yes.
So I write things down of what I would like to accomplish, where I see myself, whether it's a month from now, 5 years, 10 years, and it just gives me almost a roadmap to know where I want to go.
Yeah.
Because, you put things in your GPS because you want to know how to get to your destination.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't put things in our GPS of life, and that becomes a problem. So
Yeah.
I write them down, and then I get to work, because after you have that vision, then you got to put the work behind it.
Right. Now, do you have any special apps or like templates you use every year that you go and write everything down
Yes.
in?
What I do is I take a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's not technologically advanced.
Yeah.
But I'll take a piece of paper and fold it in half.
Mhm.
And what I'll do is put my short-term goals on one side and my long-term goals on another.
Okay.
And what I tend to find when I have people do this in conferences, like when I speak at youth and women conferences, you see all these long-term goals, but if you look at short-term goal lists, nothing matches up.
Right.
So it's like, okay, how are you going to get to your long-term goals if you don't have short-term goals in the process that are going to get you there?
Yeah.
So that's what I personally do. I put all my long-term goals down, whatever they may be. Then I go on the other side of the paper and make short-term goals that could be a week, a month span.
Right. Just to
That's
keep
gonna
you on
exactly
that.
on the
Yeah.
right track. And
Yeah.
then you can always, cross them out and add some more short-term goals.
Yeah.
But that's what I do. That piece of paper folding it in half has made all the difference in the world.
I love it. See, y'all are paying for those fancy apps, and all you need is a piece of paper. Well, tell me, what are some key habits that you believe have helped you reach your goals all these years? I mean,
Yes.
what's some stuff that you look back that, like, if I wouldn't have done this, I would never be where I am today?
Exactly. A lot of it I actually wrote about in the book you read. It's going to be called the 7 Practices of Prosperous Women.
Mm.
And those 7 practices are really the habits of my life. And we start off with the vision, writing that vision and really setting the track for your life and what you want to do. And then after that, it's bring the house down. You've got to work hard, because it doesn't matter what you say you want if you're not willing to put the work behind it. what do they say? Faith without works is dead. You've
Yeah.
got to put the work behind what you say you believe.
Right.
So then after that, it's to recognize your true strength. And we have to realize how powerful our minds are. So I'm on a constant journey of renewing my mind and making sure that my mind is strong enough to do the things that I say that I want to accomplish.
Yeah.
After that, it's use a timeout, because a lot of times we don't prioritize.
Right.
Like, we're busy at doing nothing. To be completely honest, sometimes we can be busy at doing nothing. It's like, I'm so tired, I've been doing all this
And then
all
like,
day.
what did you do?
What did you do?
Nothing
And
that matters.
Are you closer to achieving
Right,
your goals?
right.
And so that's part of that, using a timeout and really prioritizing and seeing what you need to do. Cut your losses is the fifth one. That's extremely important, because a lot of times in life we find ourselves in relationships with negative people or in negative situations. And we have to learn how to cut that out of our lives and look forward towards the positivity, because that's the only way we're going to accomplish our goals. If you have negativity beating you down all the time,
Right.
you're not going to be able to see straight on where you're going and what you need to
Yes.
do. The sixth one is to go back to square one. And I'm all about learning from mistakes. You have to be able to learn from where you tripped and why you fell so that you can get back up.
Right.
And that's extremely important. I go through that process every few days. Okay, where did I make a mistake? How can I improve? What's wrong? And then the last one is never giving up, because you're going to face adversity. I faced adversity. I know you have. A lot of people we even look up to in life have faced
Right.
enormous amounts of adversity, but they don't give up. And
Yeah.
we can't give up. And that's important to me, and that kind of rounds out the habits of my life.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I know you travel around the world. You speak to youth all over and do an awesome job. I've heard you speak
Yeah,
several
thank you.
times. And what would you say, like talking to youth, whether it's youth or grown-ups, just people in general, what are some big obstacles that you notice when talking to people that people keep getting stuck on? Or
Yes.
do you find common stuff
Yeah, I do find common things. A lot of times, it has to do also with our self-esteem and self-worth. And what happens is we don't believe that we actually can do something, and we don't believe that we can accomplish it. And it starts with the belief in ourselves, or we try to get validation from other people. I find that a lot with the teenagers I speak to, whether
Yes.
they're trying to get that validation from a boyfriend or girlfriend, or they're trying to make their parents happy. I have to get 100, I have to get an A on this next test, and they're not looking in the mirror and loving themselves.
Mhm.
And that's why I do a lot of the self-affirmations and I am a 10 and being positive.
Yes.
Because if we're not positive with ourselves, why do we expect
Yeah.
other people to be positive? And sometimes we beat up on ourselves more than we do other people. We're nicer to other people than we are to ourselves. So that's something that has been extremely important, and it's come up a lot,
Yeah.
that self-worth. But then also it comes with, I know we were talking about being busy at nothing. Sometimes it just seems like people don't know where to start. They're like, well, I'm working so hard, but what am I supposed to be doing? So sometimes when I do one-on-one conferences and things of that nature, we go back and we prioritize. This is what needs to happen in order to accomplish your goals.
Yes,
And
just help
this-
spelling it out.
exactly,
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then we're going to stick to it.
No, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Well, what would you say, just growing up, looking back at your life, and now obviously you're only 25, but you've lived, you still lived 25 years. So what would you say were some just key things that you had growing up, or key things that have shaped you to
Yeah.
be who you are today?
I remember one of the biggest lessons personally that I was taught at a young age came from my mom. And I was getting ready for a gymnastics competition. I think I told you about this in the book.
Yeah.
But I was just so nervous because I was like, what if I don't get first place? I had been winning up until this point, and I'm like, I'm getting up there in the levels, and there's girls better than me. Mom, what if I don't win? And she just looked at me like, Ray, you don't have to win. You need to go out there and just do your best. I don't
Yes.
care if you're first place or 10th place. Did you go out on that mat and give it everything that you had? And that is what you need to do every day in life, and that's what's going to make you proud of yourself and to not have any regrets. And a light bulb just went off, and I was like, wow, that's so true. If I give my all and do my best, that's all I can do.
You leave it all on the
Exactly.
table.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so even to this day, whether it's, with gymnastics and the gymnastics facility that my mom and I own now,
Which is where
Or-
we are right now. So exciting.
whether it's that, whether it's giving a speech, whether it's writing a book, whether it's just in my behavior out in public, I'm like, I am going to do my best, and I want to inspire people in the best way that I can, because I've learned that your life may be the only Bible that a person reads. And so I just want to live in a way that other people can say, what is she doing? And it's like, no, I worship and I praise him, and come along with me and do that, But it's not so much of forcing it on people, but doing what I do and then having them come and say, I want to follow him too.
Yes. So. Well, listen, when I read her book, I was like, you need to be speaking to every young person in America. I mean, she just, how God's used her, the boldness in her. She's strong, but she's also kind. And she is, her accomplishments speak for themselves. But what I love about it is she is a believer, a spirit-filled believer that is just chasing what God has for her and trying to help as many people as you can along the way. And
Exactly.
I love that about you. And, we have a group of 200 pastors that are all watching.
Awesome.
And what would you say to them, like, no matter what the ages are, what encouragement for 2019?
Yeah.
And they all have so many amazing visions in their hearts, and they love their cities, and we know God has set them there. So what would you say just to encourage them as they go into 2019?
Exactly. I know 2018 for me and for a lot of people that I speak to was a hard year.
Yeah.
There was a lot of adversity, a lot of things that happened, a lot of things that tried to break us down. And going into 2019, I just encourage you to understand that everything happens for a reason, and adversity is used for growth. And so 2019 is going to be a year of growth, and we're going to accomplish our goals. We're going to accomplish our dreams. We're going to use all the lessons that were in 2018 to really help exalt what God has put on our hearts and the vision that we have even for our own lives. It's going to be awesome, but when times do get hard, because 2019 will still have adversity, the devil will still try to get us down from what we're trying to do, to stay positive and keep pushing forward no matter what we may be going through, and understand that God has his hand on our lives no matter what it seems like in the moment. And when you write that vision, you make it plain, and you work hard towards it, and you remove yourself from those negative situations, that anything is possible, and never believe that it's not.
Yeah. Well, we believe that God has so many great things in store for you guys, and we are excited to see those things play out. And I would encourage you guys, one of my favorite things that I've done recently is I've gotten a life coach, and that has been amazing to me, just
That's
to
awesome.
kind of, I have 3 kids, I work full time, like I have a crazy life, but just taking that hour each month to meet with somebody to focus on me and what God's doing in me, how he wants to use me. And I'm sure you had some great coaches in your life. And so we also have an awesome life coach in the fellowship, Rodney Hall. So I'm going to give you guys his information, but he is somebody that I would encourage you guys to reach out. I know it's been life-changing for me. And also I wanted to tell you about Raven. Obviously she has her book, but gosh, hook your youth pastors up with her, or come and get her to your church. I mean, she is a force to be reckoned with. She's powerful, she's passionate, but her life speaks for itself. And I'm telling you, I wish that when I was 10, 11, 12, that I was around somebody like her. I mean, it's amazing. And I'm just thankful that at 37, I'm around somebody like her, because she's truly inspiring and a blessing to so many. So thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Well, we are praying and believing big things for you and what's next for you. And hopefully this is the first of many times doing stuff together.